Ladies and gentlemen, we have a living legend in the Thunderdome, traveling to the great city of Indianapolis, Indiana for the Royal Rumble. We have royalty. Ladies and gentlemen, the Queen of Queens, Stephanie McMahon. How you doing, boss? Woo! You're on camera right now.
Clapping. Woo! Clap, AJ. Woo! Come on, AJ. Good boy, AJ. And baby, AJ.
Okay. Yep, crush it. Lads, Stephanie McMahon.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How are you?
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
No. We're lucky to have you,
Thank
Steph.
you.
We are lucky to have great boots. You see these boots?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love them.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, those are badass
Those
boots.
ain't shit kickers.
Those are badass boots right there.
Now, which one is Dan?
Dan?
There's a sign about Dan farting outside your...
Yeah. Yeah, that's Dan Orlovsky. Yeah, he's actually from Connecticut.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, the great state of Connecticut. He's on TV all the time on ESPN. Thank you for making the trip. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, Royal Rumble week. Weekend. We were trying to describe it earlier. I think Royal Rumble is something that encompasses all wrestling fans, all entertainment fans, because literally anybody can show up. Obviously with Paul, Mr. H, Mr. Levesque, in charge of all the creative. What should we be expecting this weekend? And what are your favorite things about the Royal Rumble?
Oh, well, you're asking me standard fare here, Pat.
Yep.
Yes, the Royal Rumble kicks off the road to WrestleMania. So, as you know, the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match and the winner of the women's Royal Rumble match, they go on to choose the championship that they'd like to compete for at WrestleMania, which, of course, is the granddaddy of them all. The show of shows. I mean, that is the spectacle, and that all starts with the Royal Rumble. So, I think, John Cena competing in his last Royal Rumble ever is going to be really meaningful. I'm looking forward to Charlotte Flair's return to the ring. It's been way too long. Lots of surprises that I don't even know about, and if I did, I wouldn't be allowed to say.
No, yeah, you should.
But I don't know,
Here's the
truthfully. I mean, I know some things, but not all things. I was certainly surprised yesterday at the office when Triple H was announced that he was going into the Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Mr. H.
Yes, by Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, who were so happy that they were able to pull one over on him. And they got me too. I had absolutely no idea. It was so incredible.
A magical time for the WWE right now.
Yes,
a lot
it is.
happening.
It is.
Saw you at the Intuit Dome for the Netflix premiere.
Yes.
Big pop for Steph whenever she got put up on it.
Hell yeah.
Massive pop for Stephanie McMahon. How proud of you are you of the WWE right now, of Mr. H, and of everything happening with the business?
I couldn't be more proud. And I put out a tweet or a post on X, that morning, because I was just so overwhelmed. I saw the spot, and it made me cry. I mean, I was just so proud. I was in tears. To think about WWE, I mean, when my parents first started trying to promote WWE, we actually had to buy time to get on the air. And you think about how it's progressed, and then how we've been on cable and broadcast, and then ultimately launched one of the first, D2C services, one of the first streaming platforms. It was, Hulu, Netflix, and WWE Network. There may have been a couple other ones, but that's how, it was big. And then we were one of the first to sell our content then to Peacock, and then now to be on Netflix. I mean, we're the first regularly scheduled live program on Netflix. I mean, that's incredible.
Yes,
yeah. A lot of pressure. I told
a lot
Paul
of pressure.
I told Paul that. I say, hey, listen, as somebody who is regularly scheduled as live and has relationships with WWE and the NFL, which Netflix has invested billions into both. Let's get it right, Paul. Yeah.
So far,
Great.
I think he is, and it's so funny because I am so proud, but whenever I talk to him and I say how proud I am of him, he always talks about everybody else.
Yes.
Because it's about the team. It's about everyone who brings it together. It's you too, Pat. I mean, every Monday night, and then Netflix is going to have the Royal Rumble internationally. So for the first time ever in almost every country internationally, Royal Rumble will be streaming on one platform. And then, of course, domestically, it's Peacock.
Okay, so let's talk about, you talked about the history of paying time to get it on the air and then all the evolution and the growth of the WWE. Let's talk about you.
Yeah.
You've grown up in front of all of our eyes. I've been a WWE fan my entire life. So I feel like
And now I'm an old lady.
No!
I am.
Come on.
Younger than
Not
ever!
true.
Younger than ever!
28 is not old.
Awesome mom, badass business, everything that you, philanthropist, everything you've been a part of. But growing up in the spotlight, I assume, is a bit absurd, especially whenever it involves the wrestling business. Do you stop and think about that ever? Do you get a chance to get away? Have you reset it all? What is it like to be Stephanie McMahon?
So one of the things that I learned when I stepped away is that I'll never get away from WWE ever. It is a part of who I am. It is what I love. You know, I really did grow up in this business. So it was not unusual to have shoots done at our house. I was in the first ever Saturday Night's Main Event. I went trick-or-treating at Roddy Piper's house, which was actually our house. And he was putting candy, bowling balls, breaking our candy bags. I mean, he was a heel at the time. And I was on that episode with Chip from Kate and Allie. Like, it was just random, right? I did modeling for, the catalog, and I didn't get paid. We didn't have child models at the time. It was like all of the employees' kids. We were just dressed up. I've lived this amazing life with so many opportunities to meet incredible people and be a part of something that's so special that connects people all over the world. And I feel it everywhere I go and every arena I go to. It's something that is just so special.
Big pops for Steph everywhere she goes. It's not like that
That's
forever.
not necessarily true.
That is true.
Oh, yeah.
That is absolutely true. And a lot of people, you just talked about stepping away. A lot of people thought you wanted to get away from it all, and it had been your entire life. Was there a moment where you wanted to get away and then you realized that, you're proud, actually, of everything that happened?
I never stopped being proud, ever. I do think I wanted to disappear for a little while. And I kind of did, and it was good for me. I needed it. And now I'm back.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you back. Conman has a question for you, Steph.
Yes.
Yeah, Steph, as far as the evolution of the superstars, you kind of just mentioned, way back with Rowdy Piper and everything like that, and now the things they're doing in the ring are insane. Do you feel like the athleticism is at an all-time high, and can it even go further just because at some point, is there a
too
stop
much
to it? Yeah, a too much factor? We're talking about Kevin Owens going off of 8 ladders on Saturday night. Can that continue to kind of climb and reset the bar?
Well, I don't want our talent to ever put themselves in danger. Of course, there's a risk to what we do. But I think the athleticism has evolved in all sports. It's not just WWE. When you watch football now, when you watch every different sport, you see these athletes taking it to another level. When you watch high school athletes now perform, it's at another level. I think it's just the evolution of human beings, and we're going to continue to see that. And yes, I think the athleticism will continue to wow and amaze everybody watching in WWE.
How do you feel about the company's ability to create new superstars? Because there's other wrestling promotions, obviously, that have existed throughout time. I'm not just talking about currently, I'm talking about through time. And the ability to create superstars is something that is very hard for a lot of people to do. WWF, WWE have always been able to do that. Now, obviously, with the Performance Center and with NXT and everything that's been invested in that, how do you feel about the ability to create superstars? And why do you think that is something that this company, your company, has been able to do for so long?
Gosh, I think it's because it all starts with the superstar. It all starts with that talent and that character, because you have to have a reason to care, right? You have to have a reason to care, to watch them in the ring, to want to see them win, to want to boo, to see them lose. You have to care about the character. It's not enough to just have in-ring action. So I think that's something that WWE knows better than anybody. And it's a process. It's working with the talent. It's finding out who they are. It's the vision for the character. It's giving it a try. At NXT, you'll see multiple different, personas sometimes come through, and it's the same person. It's because you're trying different things and seeing how the audience is going to react. And ultimately, it's the audience that chooses what's going to work or what isn't going to work. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin's told plenty of stories about that.
Yeah, Stunning Steve was certainly a beautiful
Or the
thing.
Ringmaster. The
Or
Ringmaster.
the Ringmaster back in the day was glorious. You're one of the best heels of all time.
Oh.
Did you enjoy that?
Love being a heel.
Yeah.
But thank you. Yes, I hate being a baby face. It's the worst.
Yeah,
the worst.
Love being a heel.
Prefer to be booed. Yeah. Much
Whole
more
life?
preferred.
You felt that way?
Oh, yeah. Even when I was growing up, like, I always loved the heels. I didn't like cheering for Hogan. It just wasn't.
Well, LA.
But he was the most over ever. But I just, I wasn't on the bandwagon.
When did the smack come into play?
The slap? So it was when I became, a character, and obviously when I became a heel. And I don't know what my first slap was, but I remember the advice that I was told because all the boys were like, you got to lay it in, Steph.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you got to lay it in. It's got to look good. And make sure you don't pop anybody's eardrum. You got to hit them, in a particular spot, but hit them hard. So that's how the slap kind of started.
Yeah, you lay it in there.
I think, it was like Foley, I think. Jericho, I remember one time DX was holding Jericho. I forget the storyline, but I was going over to slap Chris, and he like winced. And all the guys thought it was so funny, and they made me wait and let him wince. And then they had me slap him. It was really funny.
How are your relationships with, I don't want to say ex-talent, but OGs of the WWF? Because obviously there is situations that happen with superstars. I think it happens in any business. Definitely in a business where there's a lot of egos, only a certain amount of spots, a lot of travel, a lot of exhaustions, and a lot of physicality, where people kind of get on the outs with the family, shall we say. Now, in the family, the WWF, the WWE. How have you been able to maintain relationships with people that have been through the WWE? And does it always feel like a reunion every time people come back home? And do you feel a big part of that whenever people come back?
So to answer in reverse order, I don't necessarily feel a big part of it if I wasn't. It is always a big reunion when somebody comes back. And I try to keep, good relationships with everybody. It's if there is a falling out or some particular, negative aspect, that's not what I choose to focus on. And if someone needs to, get over whatever that is, and then, that's their purview.
It feels like the business, everybody takes a break. Not everybody. Michael Cole's been doing this for 28 years straight. Isn't that insane?
Yeah, I know. I love Michael Cole.
Me too. What a maniac.
I slapped the crap out of Michael Cole.
You should do that again.
Yeah, amen.
You should do that again.
Ask him about that.
Let's get one of those. Let's get one of those at the Rumble. Ty has a question for you, Steph.
Yeah, Steph, you mentioned, stepping away and how that was great for you. But once you kind of go out there and you get that pop and, people are booing you, and we've talked to so many, superstars who say how intoxicating that is and like the adrenaline you get from that. Do you ever miss that aspect of it and wish oh man, I wish I was still doing this on a consistent basis, going out there every single night and getting booed and kind of feeling that rush from a live crowd?
It's a great question. And I think there was a period of time that I, have felt that way. I think there's various periods of time where I felt that way. But honestly, after I wrestled Ronda and Kurt at WrestleMania, it for some reason didn't become my driving force. It was so amazing, that match, and what we were able to the story we were able to tell, what we were able to accomplish, that me being the only non-athlete, it was a tall order for me. And ever since then, I haven't had that craving. Honestly, it's more, how are they going to react? Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh, I'm craving them to do this or that. It's more like, ooh, are they going to react at all when I come out? Because I've really only been out WrestleMania, opening the second night of WrestleMania, and then I've been in the crowd. So it's not like I've, really been out in front of everybody.
Great promo at Mania.
Yep. Yeah,
Great
awesome.
promo at Mania.
Well, I got to usher in the Triple H era, the Paul Levesque era. I mean, it was such a cool moment for me to be able to do that.
How is that? Watching him transition from all these different phases, because I was just a fan, so I've only followed along. I've never asked him or you. I believe it was just a bit for a show that you guys were maybe concocting to happen. Then you fall in love.
That,
you
yeah.
and Mr. H.
So,
and then now there's been so many different iterations of you so many different iterations of him, so many different iterations of the business, kind of watching it all grow. How do you feel about the current state of Mr. H and you guys as a family? Because he's more busy now maybe than ever.
Yeah, he's busier now than ever, but he's happier than ever. You know, he's working so hard, but it's something he actually just talked about at the town hall to all of our employees. I say our, I know it's not our anymore, but to the WWE employees.
Staff. Yeah, please.
And I can't get the hour out of my lexicon, but he
you shouldn't.
But he talked about the fun, you know, and how everybody is having, as hard as they work, they're having that much fun, and how important that is. I mean, I think you guys know that better than anybody, right? You can put in all the hours, you can grind away, but if you're having fun, you know, that's where the money is. And then if you're having fun, if our talent are having fun, then the audience is having fun.
Yeah, and it radiates to the screen, I think.
It does. You feel it.
Yeah, and you got to find people that love the business. Like for football, for instance, we talk about all these NFL teams trying to find guys that love ball. Like I feel like in the wrestling business, you find out quickly who loves the business, right? Don't you think?
You do. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because if not, you're not going to make it.
Some people, though, come from different walks of life, but they fall in love with it. You know, and that's where the passion resides. It's like you don't have to have been a fan your whole life. But yeah, if you're a fan, it makes a huge difference.
I think you guys have the most loyal and passionate fans out of any business.
I would say that. I mean, I'm sure other leagues, sports leagues would say differently, but I believe that wholeheartedly.
There's about to be, 65,000 plus?
Maybe 70.
Maybe 70,000 here at Royal Rumble. Biggest Royal Rumble attended event happening here.
But I think also because our fans are such a part of our journey, they are the reason for our success, and they are part of making it so successful. So even this move to Netflix, it's like, that's what I put in my post, because it's everybody who's ever been a part of WWE or loved it in some capacity that has gotten us to this place. And our fans know that. They're a part of it. And I think that's kind of what makes it different.
Yeah, you just said our fans again. You should.
I know. I told you I can't get our.
You should keep doing that. It's very natural, and everybody understands it. The fans are a character.
Yes.
You know, and I don't
absolutely.
think that's necessarily something in all sports or any other entertainment business. It's like the fans matter more in wrestling than any other place, and it's a beautiful thing. I was lucky to be a part of the WWE universe. Now get a chance to say dumb things into a microphone in your business. AJ has a question for you, Steph. He's in Ohio.
Yeah, Stephanie, someone that I've been a big fan of for a long time and an absolute great company man for you guys, The Miz. Now, we hear The Miz talk a lot of times. He feels like if he's not forward-facing in some of the posters or some of the promo, he may get a bit excited. Are we expecting to see a nice, a push for The Miz here over the next couple years?
You never know what's going to happen with The Miz. He's very surprising, comes out of nowhere.
How do you feel about the amount of content, amount of superstars, and trying to keep everybody happy that your business has to do?
I don't think it's possible to keep everybody happy, ever in any capacity. You're always going to have some people who are happy, some people who aren't. But I think the amount of content that is being produced is at a record level. We have more programs and shows now than we ever have before.
And Trailblaze everywhere. Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
X was the first one that showed up on it. It's like everything you guys are doing is like trailblazing. Not everything's a home run.
Right, it can't be.
I think everybody would agree with that. But you guys step into the batter's box more than anybody, which I think is why I love your guys' business so much. And also, with how, I don't want to say old the business is, but with how long the business has been around.
Okay, so do you know that really if you position the business, right, and this is something I used to do at all these business conferences when I would talk to the audience, is really it goes all the way back to the days of the Roman Colosseum. And then I say, thank God, we evolved from, with the outcome.
Kill. Yeah, absolutely.
We evolved to scripting the outcome, and that was a good thing.
Smart idea.
But, really, it does go all the way back. It's the oldest form of entertainment, I think, hand-to-hand, man-to-man kind of combat goes along with being a human being, and it's a part of survival, right? And then it evolves over time. Abraham Lincoln
Honest Abe
was a professional
Rest in
wrestler.
peace.
Some historians refute that, and some absolutely support it. And when you think about his style and his promo, if you will, he always talked about people. He told stories. And that is what WWE does better than anybody. And that's what this business does. You tell stories.
Standing at 6'6", wearing a top hat, making him 7'1", out of Illinois, Honest Abe Lincoln. That's good billing for him. But with how
At the carnivals.
which is where this whole thing kind of starts. You know, people talk about Carney and everything like that, and kayfabe and everything like that.
Yep.
The language is a Carney language and the history of it. Everybody, you know, you would think with how big the business has got, billion-dollar deals, it's still family-run business. Always will be. There's only a few people that are making decisions in there. Obviously, your family has been a part of that for as long as any of us can remember it. How has it been to not, like, take it personal, all the pop shots or all the shots that have been taken at you, your family, everything? Do you try to stay above it? Do you try to stay away from it? Do you try not to see it? How do you kind of engage in all that type of stuff?
So it's been my whole life. And when I was in high school was when my dad was indicted by the federal government. And the media came after my family in a really big and really hard way to deal with when we were in high school. And I think at that time I was filled with a lot of anger and resentment. And I had a hard time, you know, navigating all of that. And I think, you know, now in my later years when all of it seems to happen again, it's, you know, with a little bit of reverence that I can appreciate all of it because it's just noise. You know, people have opinions no matter what, and that's great. And you can think you know exactly what's going on. You can give whatever dirt you think you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I know where I stand. And that's how I have to just be grounded and rooted in who I am and what I believe in and try to ignore the noise. You know?
And I think that's why people view you the way they do, even if they view your dad or your family differently. I think that's why everybody appreciates the hell out of you. That's why there's big pops every time Steph comes out. We have a graphic here, the Queen of Queens, co-founder of Connor's Cure. Like the amount of stuff you've given back to the world to make the society better, I think you felt an onus to do, and you have certainly managed to do and helped to do. Why is that such a big part of what you think the WWE is all about?
Because it's all about our fans, and it is all about giving back. I mean, that's been a part of the ethos of WWE from the very beginning. We were one of the first partners of Make-A-Wish Foundation, you know, over 30 years ago. And our talent were the most requested wishes, you know, out of anybody. And that's really how the relationship started. And it's like, of course, yes, of course, bring this child. Yes, we want to make this wish come true. What more can we do? And that then evolved into Special Olympics, and that evolved into a lot of other partnerships, you know, that we have that are all about giving back. Connor's Cure was founded because of a little boy, you know, named Connor Mahalik, who was impossible not to fall in love with. And I met him at the Royal Rumble. It was after the show. And he was standing there. He was wearing a shirt that was like dragging on the ground. And Justin Roberts, one of our referees, introduced me to him. And he was telling me all about his T-shirts and how Sheamus had just given him this one that was dragging on the floor. And that underneath that, he had a Daniel Bryan T-shirt on because Daniel Bryan was his T-shirt. And under that, he had a Skylanders T-shirt on. And I was like, oh, buddy. He was just, you could tell he was sick because he had a scar running up the back of his head. And he had a little lump on his head. And he, you know, you could tell he was sick, but you'd never know it from his personality. I asked him for a hug, and he said no. And I said, why not? And he goes, because I give choke out hugs. And I was like, try me, buddy. And it was the best little hug. And when I stood up, that's when his dad told me, he said, you know, you guys aren't supposed to be back in Pittsburgh until the summer. And this was Royal Rumbles. And he said, and the doctors say that Connor's not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get over that. And when I said goodbye to Connor, I gave him a little kiss on his cheek. And I'll never forget how soft his cheek was. And then he turned around and he looked at me. And I know this sounds crazy, but I swear our souls touched. And I made an unspoken promise in that moment. And went on the bus that night because we were on the tour bus. And Paul and I were talking about what we could do. And we invited him to WrestleMania. And we were thinking, give him something to hang on for. And it worked because hope is really important and hope really does matter. And his dad said that at WrestleMania, it turns out the doctors told him not to travel. And they said, this will be a disaster, don't travel. His dad did it anyway. And he said it was like he had his little boy back. He could tie his shoes. He could feed himself. He could do all these things. And then his hero, Daniel Bryan, ultimately wins it all at WrestleMania.
Yes, WrestleMania.
And Daniel Bryan came over to him with the championship and said, "You did this, and you have to continue your fight." And Connor did for 3 more weeks.
Man.
And then
I'm
he
getting
died.
emotional.
He died in his dad's arms 3 weeks later.
Yeah, little Yinzer kid in Pittsburgh Children's Hospital, obviously, is an powerful one, a great one. We appreciate everything you've done for him. I'm getting emotional. I think we all are. I have an almost 2-year-old. He's got a daughter. He's got 2 kids.
Yeah,
so like,
it makes a difference.
As you tell these stories, we're thinking about it.
But so what
that's
can
what
we do,
WWE
right?
does, though.
That's right. And so there's something we can do. And we galvanized our fan base, and we've raised millions of dollars for kids with cancer. And it also maintains a personal commitment for me. And I'm doing a number of different things outside of the company. So.
Hell yeah, Steph.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, Steph. All right,
those
as
kids.
we all get past the tears of remembering.
Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry at all.
great.
We are very lucky that you are doing that and giving back to the world, especially in the city that we are from, Pittsburgh. So we're very grateful. AP Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, with your vast knowledge and wisdom of the business and the company, and now that you're back, do you feel an obligation, or do you have a lot of superstars or people around the business? I mean, Pat talks about every time he comes back, he talks about how much of how awesome everyone is, from the superstars to the camera people to everybody. Do you ever feel an obligation to, be a mentor or give advice to any of the superstars or anyone in the business now because of that you've been in all your entire life?
I don't feel an obligation, but I'm more than willing, certainly. And anybody who wants my opinion, I'm happy to give it, But it is true how great everybody is.
Oh, the best.
I mean, just the culture of the company, I think, just hands
Got called
down
into
across
question
the
a lot.
board. Yeah.
Got called into question a lot. By people that don't know the company. But you're talking about camera people that have been there for like 30
Yes,
years.
yes.
You're talking about Nikki and his crew, the production crew's been
Yep.
there for like 25 years. The guy who threw Steve Beers during the Attitude Era is still there right now doing it. It's like everybody is at the top of their profession.
That's right.
And they won't leave. They
And
won't
then
go
think
anywhere else.
about all the life you lived during that time and the challenges, because life kicks everybody around, right? And then the challenges that you have personally in this team that's always there every single week, there for you. And I think that that's just another part of it. It's another part of why it is so special.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but have you ever given your Mount Rushmore of WWF, WWE superstars?
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that's way too many.
That'd be
way too
so
many. It leads
rude.
me to the Hall of Fame,
Yeah. It'd be so rude. But there are a couple different people that have, obviously you mentioned Hulk Hogan earlier.
Yeah,
And LA booed his ass out for.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Wow. They did.
Maybe he comes back with the NWO.
Oh, yeah,
does
the
it.
black and white, yeah.
Good press conference.
But what he was able to do, obviously, alongside Andre and that entire crew, kind of launched the business into something very different. And then Stone Cold, The Rock, that entire Attitude Era,
Yep.
DX, that whole crew, they do what they do. Cena takes the reins, takes it to another. This group takes it to another. Do you view it as different eras, or how do you kind of view the history of the
I
WWE?
think it's appropriate to break it up in eras. I think it helps define it because it is so big and there has been so many special people and special moments. So I think eras work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your favorite era? The Attitude Era? What an insane time to be alive.
The Attitude Era was out of control. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It really was. To be a part of it on the inside and outside, it was, lunacy.
That's where I grew up in. So
Yeah.
Thought we were gonna get it
I
back
was
with that.
created in the Attitude Era.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, exactly. In the back, there's a guy named Nicky Skates, massive wrestling fan. He has a question for you, Steph.
Stephanie, what does the future look like for you from the wrestling standpoint, like the business? Like, where do you go from here? You're on Netflix now. You're all over the world. Like, how much further can you guys take this thing? And I know there's been shows in Europe now. Is that the next step? Where are we going next?
So international is a big focus, but again, I'm not an executive at the company right now, so just
Right
just
now?
to-
Oh,
yes.
might be getting
No,
back
and I
in.
don't
There we
mean
go.
anything by that. I just mean I'm speaking on my own here.
Absolutely.
But international is absolutely a huge focus, and that's part of one of the reasons why the partnership with Netflix is so important to us. When you think about even NXT and you think about our developmental center in Florida right now, the Performance Center, what if you have those all over the world? What if you can grow sort of mini territories? What if you replicate NXT in different countries all over the world? Ultimately, then what does that do? Aside from a programming standpoint, but then you level that up and, how do you then a global world tour where we're competing against ourselves in different countries? What does that look like? I mean, there's one thing about WWE is we've never put a ceiling on anything. and we're limited only by our imagination. So I think that, that's the best answer. But yes, international is a huge focus.
It's the greatest business in the world. I'm so incredibly lucky to be a small, little, tiny part of it. I'm so lucky to be invited back. We will continue this conversation on ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, YouTube, and TikTok Live, still alive. TikTok Live, still bringing it. Still bringing it. We don't know how much longer it will be. Royal Rumble on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. SmackDown kicks it all off tomorrow from Gainbridge Fieldhouse here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We'll continue our chat with royalty, Stephanie McMahon, digitally. We can't thank you enough for allowing us to do this for a living. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. All right, we got it out.
Yep. Nailed it.
Boom.
We're no longer on ESPN. But we are live on ESPN Plus currently.
Yep.
Awesome.
And we're live on Disney Plus currently.
Yep.
And YouTube. And I believe that is going to be a few of the homes for a show that you are creating.
That is correct.
And I think this is an announcement that is.
It is in partnership with Omaha Productions and ESPN and WWE. It is a part of the Peyton's Places show, and it is called Stephanie's Places.
Okay.
And I'm going all over the country and hopefully the world to really find out the stories behind the biggest stars in WWE.
I believe we have a sizzle reel for Steph's Places. It has no audio on it, but it is a bunch of the shots. You caught up with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I did.
You got a chance to catch up with Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns,
and the whole bloodline, by the way.
Down on a yacht down in Florida.
That's sweet.
Hilarious.
Yep.
And it's coming in March. ESPN Original, Stephanie's Places. You know the history of this business through and through. What is the goal of Stephanie's Places?
It's really to tell the stories that haven't been told and to find out more about the people behind the characters. And what I want to do is bring, some type of advice to the audience. Like, these people are all hugely successful, but like most people, they've been knocked around a lot. So how did they overcome the challenges that were put in front of them? How did they get over certain things to become who they are today? And it's really their journey. That's what I'm trying to tell is the story, their journey of how they've gotten to where they are.
Have you enjoyed hosting?
I've loved it. So I have to say, I was really nervous to do it. Again, it was like my first step back, if you will, into the business, and I was really, really worried about it. And ultimately, it's just been so rewarding to get to hang out with our talent that I know so well on a certain level, but then to get to know them so much better and differently, and again, to bring their stories out. It's interesting because with each person, it's different. In some cases, like I'm the younger person who remembers them as a big star, and how do we do this? And then in other cases, I'm the older person, and I'm trying to pull things out of a younger superstar, and it's no one show is the same. And it's just a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. We can't wait to watch coming in March. Go ahead, Tom.
Did you get to meet Steve's cats? Because this
I
office,
did.
Poncho.
Poncho. But he kept running away.
Well, that's Poncho.
Classic Poncho.
I don't like cats.
What?
I don't like cats.
Neither
I'm
do I,
sorry.
but Steve's cats are different.
Well, I know, and that's what he said. He said they were like dogs, and they were great. And I'm not disparaging Steve's cats, but yes, in general, I am not a cat
R.I.P.
person.
Lefty.
Well,
Yes.
there are cats that are like dogs, though.
They say that.
They
I don't
say
like
that.
cats since I'm a kid, and they mess with me. So my husband's sister, she had a cat that was like 22 years old or something, never came out of the closet, but it would just stay there unless I came over, and it would come sit behind me on the sofa. And his sister was like, this never happened.
Loved
I
you.
don't know
That's
what.
sick.
No, they mess with me. They know I don't like them. I was a sophomore in college, and my roommate and I, we had this apartment, the bathroom door wouldn't close all the way. And this cat would come in and perch on the sink when I was taking a shower, and I'd wash my hair like I thought this cat was going to jump over on top of me.
It's coming to say hello.
It was not. It was messing with me, and it knew exactly what it was doing. I was bit by a cat when I was in like daycare. Black cat bit my middle finger. What does that mean?
Well,
I don't know.
you know.
So many.
we know what that means. It means you're going to hate cats for the rest of your life.
That's right.
I think is what happened. Okay, before we let you go, you can tell us now. Congratulations, you're going to be in the Rumble this weekend.
Wow.
All right?
I am not in the Rumble match. That is.
Whoa.
I'm not in the Rumble match at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't tell us if you were.
Yeah. Kayfabe.
Kayfabe. We'll dump it. We won't let anybody hear it. Okay, well, we appreciate the hell out of you. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll wrap up all the stories. Let's celebrate the hell out of Stephanie McMahon and Stephanie's Place.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for making time to stop by. I know it's your first time doing any interview since stepping down as an executive.
That's right.
At WWE. You came in here and crushed it. We were crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Unreal.
Legit.
This is my first time crying in here.
Really?
Definitely.
Oh, so great. I have a credit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say Tone was crying too.
I mean, ever
So was Ty.
And I didn't even have to slap you to make you cry.
Could have.
Let's keep those. I'll do the Jericho.
Yeah. It's so great. I got to get that footage. Thank you very much for having me. It was an honor.
And the honor is ours.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you've done for society, for the business, and for us. You're the best. All right, we'll be back on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephanie McMahon.